Sometimes it's really hot.
All right. Thank you, guys. They're all set.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I thought I hit the button. I apologize.
All right. And if you have any questions along the way, please stop me. Like I said before, it is a lot of information that hopefully you'll find useful now, and then again later when you can refer back to the presentation. So the first program that we're going to talk about tonight is for social studies. Social studies uses an interactive curriculum called TCI, History Live. The social studies teachers will soon be giving all of the students their login information. It's really important that we wait for that login information because if students try to create their own accounts, it can change things around for later. So we're going to look at how to sign in just a moment, but for this program, students need their teacher's email address, their username, which will be provided, and their password, which will also be provided. So I'm going to be using a student login to show you how to get to this program. And I'm going to sign out first to take you through step by step. So most of the teachers will have a live link on their SchoolWires website or their Unified Classroom website. So you can find a social studies teacher. I'm going to find Miss Sula, who is a 7th grade teacher. And then when I go to web resources, there's a link for the online textbook. And then that screen should look a little bit familiar like the one that you just saw. So I'm going to put in the social studies teacher's name, the student username, and then the student user ID. And then I'm signed in. This is the student view, not the teacher view.
What would this be criteria again?
So it will be the teacher's email address, and then the student username and the lunch pin. But that information will be provided by the social studies teachers. So you can watch a video if you'd like, and it kind of goes through step by step. And then once you're here, you will see all of the different units that the students will study during the year. So I'm just going to start with Unit 1. And then there are a lot of really cool features. The students can annotate. There's an interactive notebook. There's a map that students can draw on. So lots of cool tools. There's also games. There's vocabulary cards, and there's a lot of different resources. The teachers will put assignments on there as well. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the Social Studies TCI. And it's nice, it prompts you if you haven't saved anything too. The other nice thing about TCI is that it can really be accessed on almost any device, even a mobile phone. Of course, all the students have laptops, but if they don't for some reason, tablets work, cell phones work, desktops work. So now we're going to move on to our textbooks for science, for math, and for Spanish. And of course, some students may have Spanish, some students may not. Yes?
Is there a functionality or a place where the kids can store all their IDs and passwords so that they don't lose them, or if they lose them, they can get into the textbook?
Yeah, so that's a really great idea. I know that some teachers give out password trackers. I would definitely suggest maybe thinking about something like that, or even just a notebook where you're writing everything down. It's not something that we have set up as a district, though. There's not like a platform for that. And I think probably that's for security purposes, too, because there is the risk if somebody figured out how to get into that and then get all the password information. But I do recommend that students find a place to record this information down. A lot of it does repeat. A lot of it's mainly email addresses and lunch pins, use lunch IDs. So a lot of it is pretty easy to remember after a while, but writing it down somewhere else would be a good idea too. Any other questions before I move on? Okay, so these three textbooks are all connected to PowerSchool. They're all through Pearson. So getting to these textbooks is all the same. So a couple things that you should know is how to access this. Now, I know this might look like a lot when you don't have PowerSchool in front of you, but if you flip that paper over, I did print that as well. So it's a step-by-step guide once you do log into PowerSchool, how you can get to these online textbooks. So now I'm going to take you through step-by-step as a student to show you what that would look like. So I had already logged in as a student, and then I went to this last option for quick links. Oh, sure. Please do. So I went to that last option for quick links. You could turn them both off if you want. There you go. Okay. And then you can click on any of the options to go to this page here. And then you click on My Calendars. And then you click on Easy Bridge Access. Once you go to Easy Bridge Access, you'll see all of the classes that the students are enrolled in. So this student has math and science. And then you can click below to get to the textbook itself. So there's three different columns that you'll notice. The first is programs. So that's where you're actually going to access the textbook. And you'll see the different units there. Of course, the teachers will let the students know which unit they should be in. Then in the middle column where it says classes, that's where the upcoming assignments will be listed. So that's really important to pay attention to. Students can see what's due and when it's due, and then they can just click on the assignment. And then once assignments are graded, they'll pop up there. Science is really similar. That's not science. I guess I have to sign in again. And then science is right there. Should load. The other thing that's really nice, just like in the social studies online textbook, students do have the option to annotate, highlight, draw. It's just really important to remember to save any of those things because they don't save if you don't. Do you guys have any questions about science or math? Okay. So there's two more tools that I would like to show you. So this is our vocabulary program. It's called Sadlier. Again, students will receive their login information in the next coming weeks. They will sign in with their lunch pin, and then the teacher will provide them with a password. It's really important to make sure at the end of the domain, it says at Washington Township. If it doesn't, it won't let the students log in. So if a student's ever having trouble getting onto their vocabulary site, double check the website name to make sure that it ends with at Washington Township. And then the last tool is called Newsella. Newsella is used primarily in ELA, but also in science and social studies and possibly some other courses. Now, this one is a little bit easier to sign in with. Students can sign in with their Microsoft credentials. That's their 365 login. So they'll create accounts in class. And once they do, they just click on that Microsoft button and it will take them into News ELA. And that is a site that has current news articles that are level text for different reading abilities. Questions? Yes.
You said the teacher gives them the password.
Yeah.
Does the student then go in and change the password so that only they know it, or does the teacher continue to know their password?
The teacher does continue to know the password typically. Usually it's something like in my classes, I typically create a class password. That way, if students forget it, it's easy to remind them of it. And also that way, if something gets lost, like we can log in and we can check it just to make sure. None of these sites really have any confidential data. So we typically do hold on to those passwords. Yeah. Any other questions? I know that was a lot of information, especially when you don't necessarily have the tools in front of you, but I would really recommend you can go back and rewatch this presentation throughout the year. You can go to the specific textbook that you need and find out those steps for getting into the textbook itself. Hi. Do you want me to show you any of the features in some of those textbooks? I think we have like a minute or two left.
Sure.
All right. I'll go back into.
So their math, all of their math will now be done on here, right? They won't have a workbook with questions in it anymore for homework. It'll probably be.
Yeah, pretty much everything is right here. So this is a sample assignment. It looks like it's in progress. So they would click there. This might be an older assignment. And then everything's done on here. So they can listen to a lesson if needed. They do still need to show their work, but there's a place for them to do that.
So as a parent, though, when you're trying to help them, we'll be able to go back in the text and actually see the lesson.
Yeah.
So that they learned it.
Yep, the textbook is right there for them. Yep. And if any of you are also attending back to school night tomorrow, I'm sure that the content area teachers will go into it in more detail to explain that more. And it is nice that everything is right there. So in science, you can just click on the unit, the lessons right there. And then it kind of goes through. Students can pace themselves. They can check as they go. So, and then they can answer questions right there. So everything is really right there. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
It mentions that Spanish is in Pearson. Is French in there as well?
It's only Spanish, I believe, at the moment. Yeah, I think French has a different curriculum program. Yes.
Does it only allow them to like a student to go as far as the teacher wants them to go? Or is that a matter of them voluntarily just following what the teacher tells them? So in theory, like, could they go in and just keep on?
You know, that would be a really great question for that content area teacher. I actually think it does give them access to everything, which is kind of nice too, because students can kind of direct their learning a bit. So if a student, wants to enrich themselves, they can maybe look at something else that wasn't particularly assigned, or if they need to go back as a refresher, it still stays there, I believe. Because this is a student view now, and I can access all of the units. So I would imagine that they can really access anything. But the teacher would let them know what they should be focusing on, because that would come up in that middle assignment section. Yeah. Anything else?
Can you show us how the students would be doing their, showing their work on the math side, or is that something I should ask tomorrow night?
I would say the math teacher is probably going to be the expert there. I'm not 100% familiar. I can try to figure it out. Let's see.
They're doing all the homework and math on digits.
Unless otherwise specified by the teacher, yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I'm just kind of playing around with this. I'm not sure. I would definitely ask the math teacher, because I'm really not 100% certain. I know it is possible, and I know the math teacher will be able to give you step-by-step directions, but there are a lot of really cool tools, as you can see. It looks like maybe here they can build figures.
So what the idea of the teacher using it, like when it's time to take tests, are these mainly the tests that they'll be taking like when they're in the classroom, or is the teacher saying, hey, you have a test due by Thursday? So when they'll talk about it and then they send them home and they're going to be doing it that night?
Practice would be at home.
Yeah.
Assessments, the test would be in class.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Which session did you guys go to before this? Was it
The unified classroom.
Unified Classroom? Yeah, I know it's a lot. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Is there a restaurant we can use?
Yeah, if you go out and make a left, the men's room is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's 24.
Oh, this one goes all the way till 24?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Yes, it's 7 to 7:24.
The last one seemed a little shorter. So how's middle school been going overall? Because I think everyone's a sixth grader, right? Yeah. Thumbs up so far. Awesome.
Sort of.
In between?
I think my wife is making a difficult transition from elementary school to middle school. That was doing fine.
Bella was in my summer transition group, which was nice. And you were too, Zach. Right? And you were too, right? No?
I was in science.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was confused. Do you have questions about anything else, like not textbook related?
I can't make it tomorrow night. Will they typically send whatever information home with the student the following day?
You could contact the teachers. It's really just if you got a welcome letter for the classes. I know for my class, that's pretty much what I'm going to cover at back to school night. So if you read through that, you should be good.
Did the district totally get rid of paper textbooks?
Not totally.
Well, I mean, at the middle school level?
No, there are still some. Trying to think what classes still have them. Thank you. Have a nice night. Thank you for coming. You might want to edit like the last